Hi, and welcome back. Now let's talk about high-performance teams. Now, a reasonable question to ask is, what have high-performance teams got to do with software development? I mean, it's hardly rocket science, and it's hardly race pit crew, and it's hardly surgery. Well, that's true. However, we can learn things from high-performance teams. We can learn about managing non-high-performance teams by having a look at what teams do in the extreme, what's needed to do there. There has been a certain amount of study into just teamwork in general, and what seems to have been found and established is that as the team has a shared mental model, the team's performance seems to improve. Now that's pretty reasonable when you think about it, and doesn't actually say anything dramatic, because clearly if the team didn't have some common understanding of what was going on, their performance would be terrible. But the more they can share the mental model, and the more the model corresponds between all team members, generally the better the performance is. There are different aspects to the mental model. You can have a model of what, that is, what tasks have to be done, who has the knowledge for those tasks, what knowledge do you need for those tasks. So you can have a model of the what, and that's actually called transactive memory. The other model that you can have would be a model of actions. So what has to be done, who's doing it, when do they have to do it, who follows them, who precedes them, what has to be done before you can consider it complete. Now this is called collective mind, and I happen to like that because the setting for the research on it was quite fascinating. The research was done by a sociologist by the name of Carl Weick. He's reasonably well known, simply because he's a very good sociologist. He did some investigation into collective mind on aircraft carriers, and the paper was published in 1993. Now with an aircraft carrier, the way his paper was introduced was along the lines of, when you take an airport about the size of San Francisco and you shrink it down to maybe a couple of hundred meters long, you have aircraft taking off and landing at the same time. You have aircraft being serviced at the same time as the aircraft are taking off and landing. You have them being refueled while the motors are going. You have them being armed with live armaments while the motors are going as well. And you have the landing field actually going up and down. And then you slick the whole thing down with oil and water and staff it all with people who had never seen the sea prior to joining the Navy 18 months ago. And by the way, try not to kill anyone. So you can see there is a fairly decent challenge, because you have, I think it's about 1,000 people staffing an aircraft carrier, and somehow that 1,000 people have to have enough of a common understanding of what they're doing to actually do it without killing anyone. There have been, as I say, some lessons that have come out of that, and what it was, Carl Weick described it as heedful interrelating. That is, I am heedful of what I'm doing, who I interact with, who passes off to me, who I pass off to, what the task should look like, what the overall task should look like, what it looks like when things are going wrong, how I can adjust when things are going wrong, or if they're late or not quite there, or possibly they're early, how can I adjust? And similarly, if the person I'm passing off to is having some difficulties or is early, how can I react to that? And to pay attention to all of it. Now that was called heedful interrelating. There's quite a bit more to it than that, but it is called collective mind, and it deals with the activities of the task. A transactive memory, by contrast, deals with the what of the task. That is, what has to be done, what knowledge is needed, who has that knowledge, where is it, how can it be applied. In almost any team, not everybody has all the knowledge. I mean, I don't know all about everything that's going on. No one team member does. But collectively, the team as a whole knows all they need to know. And the trick is that people learn who has the knowledge and what knowledge it is, who to ask when you need to ask. Now that's called transactive memory. The characteristics of a transactive memory is that people build it up at the beginning of the task or the project, and then once the whole thing is understood and people start taking their specialized role in the project, then the transactive memory tends to die away. So here you have the two factors that we've identified so far in high-performance teams. One is the heedful interrelating of collective mind, and the other one is the knowledge map of a transactive memory.